Hello, everyone. This is Vincent Pacillo, host of the msuwma podcast. We have another amazing episode planned for you today. We recently had Bryan Hasling. Bryan is a partner and financial planner at Lodestar Private Asset Management in Alamo, California, which is in the San Francisco Bay Area. He helps ambitious professionals and successful families reach financial independence and strategically guides his clients through high-impact areas such as retirement planning, tax planning, and equity compensation packages, including stock options and more. He attended Texas Tech's financial planning program and is a certified financial planner and an IRS Enrolled Agent and advanced designation in taxation. Most notably, Bryan was named a partner of the firm in 2020. In today's conversation, we talked about how Bryan started in financial planning, what advice he has for people starting in the financial planning industry in the first few years, as well as what being a partner is like, and so much more. Stay tuned. Welcome back, everyone, to the msuwma podcast. I am here with Bryan Hasling from Lodestar Private Asset Management, Alamo, California. Bryan, thank you so much for being here.
Pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. So let's get started just by talking about your career in financial planning and wealth management. So again, thank you for joining me. So tell us about a little bit about your career path and your journey to partnership and what that may look like.
Yeah. I'm happy to share anything and everything. And thank you for even giving me a platform to share. I think I was really gravitated to want to share with you because like yourself, I also went through a financial planning college program. So I'm really happy to see what Michigan State is putting together. I went to Texas Tech, very similar CFP program. So we're a very special, unique breed of people that we have a very cushy setup. We get to graduate college just like everybody else, but we're now eligible to take the CFP exam. I say this because, most people, you just graduate with accounting or finance or something else. You want to be a financial planner. Well, now you have to go to night school and you have to, studying your free time before and after work and such. You really have to show this even more of a commitment afterwards if you want to be a financial planner. So I definitely have been in a privileged position, and it's definitely helped start my career off. I think I've actually grown maybe faster than maybe others in my situation. So, a lot of it is a result of the good fortune that I've had. You'll hear me say I'm lucky a lot because I am, but there's also quite a bit of hard work that goes involved, but there's also what you'll learn is that on top of the hard work that you've got to put in, it honestly takes a small village to be able to grow and raise somebody up, to have some of the early successes that I've had. So I wanted to share a little bit of that, but not everybody should go the route that I take, but I'll share a few guidelines and some of my principles that helped me get to where I am today. So just fast forward to where I am right now. I've been working in the financial planning profession for seven years or so. I came directly out of the CFP program at Texas Tech. So from Texas Tech, I actually ended up taking a job. I'm from Texas. I found an opportunity on the other side of the country in California. And the opportunity itself, if you look at it on paper, I don't think it ignited a lot of, I don't think it was interesting to that many people. It was a 3-year-old firm. The owner was in his probably early 40s at the time. His prior life, before getting started into the firm, before starting the firm, he wasn't a financial planner or advisor at all. So started from scratch, started with $0 under management, but lo and behold, grew a nice business, 3 years, and needs some help. That's where I come in. And we were chatting, and everybody who understands risk management at all would look at this opportunity and say, why would you take this? There's no track record for success really besides these first few years. I had offers from other larger organizations, even in my home state, You know what I mean? Why would you go and pursue this? Well, number one, and we'll get into this maybe a little bit later, but I saw a couple things that really made me feel good about it. It was a risk, but it was a calculated risk. But it could have definitely not worked out, but it did for me. The first thing was, well, there was an opportunity. There was nobody else in the second chair. I would have been the only other person at the firm. So I wanted to take that opportunity. The other thing was when I was speaking to my boss, who's also my partner now, my boss partner, he was just my boss at the time. Whenever I was talking with him, I could really tell that this person really wanted me to succeed. I could tell that this person really understood how to speak to me. I felt that this person could help me. So those are the two things that you really need, I believe. Obviously, you need an opportunity. If there's no opportunity to grow, maybe you shouldn't take that opportunity. But you need also somebody who's going to be there helping you and guiding you along the way, making sure that you do grow. So I felt those two things, and I took the opportunity. That was 7 years ago. We were called J.W. Harrison at the time. And slowly but surely, we grew and grew. We ended up hiring another associate financial advisor who I now manage, and it was sort of like a rinse and repeat, keep helping this person grow. And then 2019, 2020 came, and we were trying to figure out, well, what's the next step for our business? How do we hire? This is all like trying to understand the business world of it. What do we do next? How do we get to the next level to where we want to be? We ended up, we were having conversations with firms across the street, sort of in our area. We're pretty plugged in, as you could see. And we ended up identifying another firm. All the partners got along together. It was like, I like the way you do things. We've been sharing ideas for a long time now already.
Right.
And we do things the same. Why don't we just do it together? So in 2020, we took our small firm, J.W. Harrison, merged it into Lodestar Private Asset Management. And now we went from a 3-person organization to an 8-person organization. So still pretty small on the grand scheme, but it's been 7 years. It's been the wildest ride of my life, and it's worked out really well for me. And it's just, it's been a really wonderful life and profession for me, definitely.
Man, that's awesome. That's super, super cool. So kind of going off that, so what do you think, based on your experience and the experience of other people who you've talked to, what do the first few years of an advisor looks like, or of an advisor look like, and what type of work are you doing? Like, what does that kind of look like as well?
Yeah, so the first few years are obviously super important for anybody who's about to graduate in this world. I mean, I very much was surprised at how much adjusting I had to do in the first couple of years. So let me kind of illuminate what it might be like on the other side of the veil for even yourself here as you're about to go into the real world, so to speak. Actually, the closest analogy that I can think of what it felt like to me was even backing up to whenever I was 18 years old and going into college for the first time. I don't know if you remember that feeling, but you've got like this certain amount of freedom. You just graduated high school. Who knows what you were doing over the summertime? Now it's time. Now you're placed into the dorms or something like that at your college. You don't really know your surroundings. You don't really know where you are. Your schedule, you've got to create it. There's really nobody telling you what to do anymore. It's this whole like recalibration period. That's what it was for me, at least. And I was living in the dorm, so it's like I don't even know where I am right now. Like it was all those things. The first year, whenever you're out of college, it's a similar, maybe not as intense of a process, but it's a similar thing. It's a recalibration period. So not only do you have to recalibrate what's going on, you have to recalibrate, what's my schedule? What time do I even wake up and go to sleep every day? Basic things like that. You have to start to get more disciplined on. But at the same time, for me personally, I moved into a new city. That's obviously a pretty big thing. Oh, across the country, right? So very different, Texas to California.
Yeah.
That was a big thing. I didn't have any friends, so I didn't really know what was going on there. On top of it all, like I had to make sure that I was actually learning my job because that was the whole point.
Yeah.
But even in my free time, what was I doing? Well, in your first year or so out of these programs, well, you're not just ready to fly. You have to actually take all these exams. And there's like a couple sneaky ones if you're not prepared for it, and it can really throw you off. So the very first exam that you take, I've got these letters after my name, and it's CFP, Certified Financial Planner. That's the big one. This is like the bar exam of
Yeah.
exams for our world. It was a doozy, and it took me 2 times to pass. I really thought I was going to knock it out the first time, but it was like, nope, you better dedicate another 3 months to studying.
Wow.
So it took me like 6 months in general just to like approach the CFP exam. So you finally get to a point where you pass it. It's like, great, I passed it. I'm ready to go about my life. No, 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 not so fast. You don't actually get the CFP letters or marks, that designation, until you've worked for a couple of years. So I was still kind of like, I don't know, call it naked out here. I didn't
Yeah.
really have anything to my name yet. In our world, just by the regulating bodies, if you want to be able to give investment advice and charge a fee, which is what our firm did, if you don't have the CFP, you have to have this other series exam. So series exams is maybe something you'll hear a lot. You'll take a different series exam depending on like what your company does or how they make money, basically. But if you want to charge a fee for investment advice, you have to have this thing called a Series 65. Series 65 is kind of like CFP Lite for the most part. It's very similar, which is why I did it in that order. I did the hard one first because I just came from all this like college curriculum where it was relatively fresh, and I needed to knock out the one afterwards. Series 65. Here's a fun fact. I also failed that one, and it took me a couple times to pass.
Wow.
This is a highly failed exam, not because the content is crazy hard. It's not much harder than the CFP, but it is. It does have a whole section in there on like basically like the regulating bodies. There's a whole section in there that honestly you actually won't even ever use ever. So it's a lot of like information that you have to try and memorize just for the exam. I think a lot of people don't give that part of the exam credit, and they'll end up failing. A lot of my friends didn't pass the first time, not because they're not smart, but just because you didn't give. It's just an exam. You have to learn how to play the game
Right.
a little bit. So first year, basically that's the entire year. It's just like exams, learning my surroundings, learning my new environment, trying to create disciplines for myself. Is that very much that recalibration year mixed with learning a new job and taking exams. So
Exactly.
a lot of exams. Year 2, you're like, all right, I got no more exams. I can have a little bit of fun in my free time. I think I've made a couple of friends by now. You can start to be a little bit more social. But now it's about, all right, I got to get good at this job, because the first year, you're learning, but your bosses really don't expect you to be masters in the first year. It's great if you should try and do that, obviously, but like, there's a lot of grace. There should be a lot of grace in the first year or so. Second year, well, now it's go time.
Mm-hmm.
So second year is really all about, all right, I found my schedule. I know what works for me. I know I like to wake up at this time and do this at this time. Like, you're good at scheduling. You're good at managing yourself. Now it's about learning to get into the job a little bit more. And in our world, the only thing that really moves the needle for your career, it's really just how much involvement you have with the clients.
Mm.
That's like the whole thing.
Yeah.
You want to get into meetings. That's the first thing. And you want to talk in meetings, basically.
Yeah.
Oh, and you want the client to talk to you too, by the way.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to get that. Year 2 is when you have to get a little bit more aggressive on speaking in meetings, I would say.
Gotcha. Very, very cool. Okay. No, that's awesome. So You kind of touched on this a little bit as well, but what helped you to excel in those early days? And when you fast forward to today, like what do your days look like?
Yeah. So I mean, those two things that I said, I'll say them again. You have to have two things to be successful, at least early on as a new financial planner. You have to have a great opportunity,
Yeah.
but you have to have somebody who's going to be coaching you along.
Yeah.
I just mentioned that, in year two or so, it's going to be really important that you start to get a little bit more aggressive on trying to speak up in client meetings.
Right.
I say that because you're probably going to be hired on as the number two in, for somebody else's client. You're the helper person, general helper person. But your goal is to not stay the support helper person. Your goal is to steadily start to work your way up into being
Right.
some sort of either equal or just becoming the lead advisor yourself. The only way to do that, though, is to start to get a little bit more mic time away from the first person. How do you do that? I want to tell you right now, for clients that I've started on, I was new clients that come in, they're my clients, they speak to me only. I'm used to being the person. They talk to me, they call Bryan about stuff. Well, now that I have if I have a support person helping me out, it's no longer the Bryan show. I have to be steadily comfortable letting go of the microphone and honestly letting the other person speak up. It's really hard and intimidating for an associate advisor who's never really had to you have to be kind of aggressive about it. But you don't want to create this overly competitive environment or anything.
Right.
So the way to help solve that is for whoever the lead planner is, hopefully you are a thoughtful leader, thoughtful manager type. You have to go out of your way. I personally have to coach myself on this all the time. It's like, all right, we've prepared for a meeting. I know what this meeting is going to be. How can I make this other person in the meeting look really good and really smart? A lot of it comes down to, you're kind of scripting out the meeting.
Yeah.
You kind of know what you're going to say ahead of time. And now you're assigning lines. It's like, all right, I'm going to say this. You're going to say this. I'm going to do this. You're going to say this. And I'm going to make the other person look good. It doesn't take away from me to do that. It makes us all look really good and choreographed and organized. It's a sort of a rising tide lifts all boats sort of thing. It's okay. But I will say that that's going to be the hardest thing for new associate advisors to overcome, because you're going to get hired on as the helper person. The trick is, are you going to stay at that position or not?
Right.
And you can do a lot to help yourself get there. But let's be real. If the person who has the control isn't confident in their ability to give it up, it's probably not going to happen.
Right. Exactly. I gotcha. Sounds good. So, that's a really interesting perspective. And the other thing too, kind of going off that. So like, as you've grown in your career, you have become a partner of your firm. So, I really want to get into describing what a partner actually is and how one gets that role.
Yeah. So partner, it's like this super nebulous term that gets thrown around, and it's like everybody, no matter if you say it or not, if you get put into a job and there are partners, well, that's naturally your goal. Whether you know what it means or not, it's just naturally your goal. I hear it in my own office as well. It just kind of happens. And for me, it was never personally my goal or anything. My goal is to simply just keep getting better at the job, keep getting better at client work, just keep getting better overall. You have to back up to what partnership actually means. It really comes down to, this is a very vanilla way of describing it, but we have businesses and there are owners of businesses. So we have firms, there are owners of firms, and sometimes there's more than one owner of the firm. Right now, before I came on board, there was a few main partners, basically. And effectively what it meant for me to become a junior partner was to be invited to the ownership table. So now effectively, we're all just running a business together.
Yeah.
That's really what it means. It's really, partner is like kind of a lofty word, but what it really is it's business ownership, and I had to buy into the business.
Yeah.
Nothing is handed out. If you want to own part of a business, well, you have to pay for it. You hope that it's kind of like buying a stock. You're going to buy it and you hope that it expands and grows and does well for you. But that's actually what a stock is. Honestly, it's just buying part of a business.
Ownership.
And that's what being a partnership is too. You want to be, the only difference between the stock market and the firm is that, like, in the stock market, they'll say, yeah, anybody can buy shares. In the partner world, it's like, I don't know if I want to be your business partner. You know what I mean? So
right.
I was very fortunate. There was no exact formula for how I was supposed to be partner. We didn't have the track laid out. It's a little bit, it's pretty corporate. We're pretty small, like to stay small, but a lot of firms do have that in place. You got to check this checkbox, this checkbox, this checkbox. For me, when we were running our smaller firm, there was really nobody else to kind of lean on for a lot of the big decisions and things that had to happen. I was in a fortunate position to where I had a lot of responsibility early on. Fortunately, I do believe I stepped up for it. But yeah, I felt like I was kind of running the business for years, even before partnership even happened. And, so now what does it look like? I think that's an important question. How has my role changed? What does partnership even look like now? I'll be the first to say that my roles have really stayed the same for the most part. At this point, I have a handful of clients to my name. I think I'm associated with maybe, 60, 70 clients at any given time. Just kind of associated with them. Call a good chunk of those I'm still support advisor for the primary advisor.
Right.
I still serve that role for sure. There's just a heck of a lot more now where I am the primary person, and maybe I have help under me, or I just don't at all if there's no need for it. The only thing that really changed, obviously, the money. You have to buy part of the business.
Exactly.
That's one thing. But there's this thing called ownership mindset that you might hear the term thrown around in the future. But basically, like, whenever you feel like you own something or something like it's on you, there's something that shifts in your mind. You're not going to act like an amateur anymore. You will step up because you want to contribute and be the best contributor to the business you possibly can be. So there was really no stated job changes or responsibilities. I already felt like I was already acting like an owner, and I really care about this business. The thing that changed for me is like, you know what? I am responsible for this business, though. Like, on paper, it's true. No denying that. So, like, I should do my best to put myself out there as, a leader in the community. New prospects come in. I need to make sure that I am putting our business in the right step forward to make sure we get those clients.
Right.
So business development just kind of naturally becomes part of it. It's been a long learning curve for me there. I am not a great salesperson at all. So I just try not to be a salesperson, and I just like try and lean into my strengths as being a good helper, which is all I really am. So long-winded way of saying, I don't necessarily know what partnership means. I think it's different to every firm. Do I care about this business? Do I want this business to be the best it possibly can be? Of course.
Sure. Awesome. No, that's super interesting. Now, what resources do you use to help you as an advisor? Any types of blogs or like podcasts, anything like that you use?
Yeah. So, first is like pick your medium, because some people like podcasts, some people don't like podcasts.
Yeah.
Some people like to read, some people don't like to read.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to pick your poison there. I would say if you're trying to get a twofer, if you like both of them, if you're going to be in this profession, you're going to have to get to know Michael Kitces.
Yeah.
You're just going to have to get to know him. Kitces. you're going to have to know him. He's always writing. He's got actually a pretty sweet podcast. He's on episode like a few hundred at this point.
Yeah.
He's a thought leader for sure. So you're going to learn a lot about the financial planning industry, not just like strategies on financial stuff, but also like business, running a firm, hiring, technology. Like it kind of covers the board. It's actually pretty impressive. So that's a no-brainer. This is a financial like advice. Like we do have to know financial things though, and you're going to want to get some more perspective. There are a few financial blogs that I do like a lot, and they speak the way they write. They write like you're another human being, like you're talking to a friend.
Exactly. You know?
Nobody likes feeling like they're being talked over. Like, I don't like that feeling. I didn't get a PhD for a reason. I don't like playing that game. But if you can talk to me like I'm another normal person, that's great. So there's a couple of resources out there I like. One of my favorite blogs is A Wealth of Common Sense.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard of that one.
Oh yeah.
Ben Carlson
yep.
is yes, he's pretty great actually. He just speaks like a normal guy, which is great. I think him and his partner also have a podcast. I don't know if you know that one.
Michael Batnick, I think it's The Compound.
Yes, Batnick.
Yep.
And Animal Spirits.
Animal Spirits, that's what it's called. The Compound is Batnick and Josh Brown.
There you go. Yeah. So all those guys, the Ritholtz gang, I'm definitely a fanboy of everything that they've got going on over there. As far as other writers out there, I'd say that like the best writer, like objectively like good at writing and like technical communication, is Morgan Housel.
Yeah.
And he wrote a book recently called like, I don't know. Actually, do you know him?
He wrote The Psychology of Money, correct?
Yeah, that one.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, the dude is, he like bone chilling stuff sometimes. Hard to do through just like written words. So very impressive stuff. I say you got to get to know them. Then as far as like, if we're talking about resources, some people are more community driven.
Yeah.
So like, this is me personally, actually, like I like to join groups basically and feel like I'm a part of the group. And then I'll learn that way just from having conversations kind of like this. Actually, I just want to connect with you. So like,
right.
Obviously, if you've got a local FPA chapter, that's a no-brainer. You're going to want to join that. If they have some sort of like next gen group or something like that, that's a no-brainer too. Why is that important? I was describing the first couple of years of what your life's going to be like. It's going to be really, really good if you meet other people who are going through that with you.
Nice.
It's a very particular lifestyle that you'll be living. And you just want to talk with other people who know what you're going through. And that's really it. So you got to get into clubs that way, next gen, whatever you got to do. Also, if you're more on the internet of sorts, besides like LinkedIn and stuff like that, ironically enough, the Twitter world has sort of emerged again over the past several years. And like, I don't know. Do you follow anybody on Twitter? Like, do you keep up with that stuff?
So actually, WMA just created a Twitter page. So we are following like the latest like Twitter creators and stuff like that, because you're right. Like there's a huge Twitter presence among financial advisors, so much more significant than, Facebook or LinkedIn, I feel like. So I feel like it's super interesting.
I will follow the group.
Awesome.
You guys we're in there now.
At MSUWMA for everyone who doesn't know about it. Yep.
Yeah,
super easy.
I'm gonna follow.
But just a quick side note for anyone who is curious, we actually did interview both Ben Carlson and Michael Kitces. Michael Kitces is season 2, episode 7, and Ben Carlson is season 1, episode 9. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so we did interview both of them, and they all had really great stuff to say, which was awesome. So
yeah, those are leaders for sure. In this world.
Yeah, awesome, great stuff. So, what surprised you most about this profession?
This profession is, this is what I would call a high thank you job and a high secrets job. What does that mean? I feel like everything we do, it's all client driven, whether I'm picking up the phone or having a meeting. I feel like just about every time I hang up the phone or send a quick email, like everybody's always saying thank you to me. And
Yeah.
I'm just like, I didn't actually do that much, or I just answered a quick question, but it's like, it's a job where people come to you maybe anxious about something. You can give them relief in some form or fashion, and you made them feel better.
Right.
And so you're going to get this thank you. And I say that because like there's a lot of jobs out there where you don't get that.
Yeah.
I think policemen get it like, a good portion of the time. I don't know. I just feel like there are so many jobs out there where you don't get all this like positive reinforcement all the time, where it's like we're done and our relationship is stronger. You don't get that everywhere. So that's a really cool piece. So it makes it actually a very happy work environment for sure. The other thing is it's a high secrets job. So like, what does that mean? Money is really hard for people to talk about, and they don't talk to many people about it. I don't know how many people in your life know the exact like dollar amount in your checking account or your bank account, but
Yeah.
like it's probably not very many. It's kind of a secret, right? Even my own personal account is like, who knows? It's kind of a secret. So for somebody to you need to, when you're in this job, you have to realize that people don't talk about this stuff,
Yeah,
and they're
exactly.
telling you this stuff, and now you're like the guardian of their secrets and the thing
Yeah.
that they're maybe really self-conscious about. So it's there's a lot of responsibility. It's kind of like Spider-Man, like great power, great responsibility. Like it's a
Right.
very large responsibility, and I'll be honest, it feels really good
Yeah.
whenever somebody opens up like that to you. So for all these reasons, it's a really, really gratifying job. And
Yeah.
when I was studying the program, CFP stuff, everybody was always telling me, "Oh, this is a great job. You're going to love it." It's on all these like rankings list as like best jobs, be a financial advisor. But like, I don't know what that means. That's just
Right.
like super arbitrary. But now that I'm in it, it's like, wow, I feel good every day, and I get to make people's lives better. So that's the first big one. The other one is just like, I look at the days that I get to have, the conversations I get to have, honestly, the money I get to make, and I look at, my other friends' careers. I have friends that went into the legal profession. I got doctor friends. I got, veterinarian friends, accountant friends. I look at all of them and I look at their lifestyles, and I look at the money they're making, and I look at my lifestyle and the money that I'm making. It's like, why would I go do any of that? So like, I mentioned those other professions because they're like most notably like the noble professional careers, be a
Yeah.
doctor, be a lawyer. When I was coming up, people weren't telling me like be a financial advisor. That's one of the more noble careers. But everybody has money stuff going on. It just
Oh
seems like
yeah.
such a thing that everybody needs to have some sort of like advice person. I think everybody can benefit from some level of financial advice. To me, it is one of the most noble careers out there. But if I compare it to the other careers, um, yeah, it just seems like a no-brainer to me. I'm just surprised it hasn't grown in our society as one of the like classic careers that are really wonderful.
Yeah, that's awesome. Sweet. So to close out, so we've gone over so much information, um but really like I always like closing out these podcasts by asking like just your kind of general advice like that you would give to young advisors or aspiring advisors and to our listeners in general. So what advice do you think you would want to give to us?
When I look at the financial advisors who are good versus ones who are great, the ones who have excelled in their career early on, the
Yeah.
ones who clients gravitated to, the ones who were able to get clients earlier on in their life, even
Yep.
being a young person, which is kind of a struggle in itself.
Yeah.
I look at those people and I say, well, what made them different or better than somebody who was just doing okay.
Right.
You know, the closest analogy I could think of, it's kind of related to the secrets job I was talking about.
Yep.
The closest analogy is, you know, if you could think right now, like, who was the person that you tell everything to? You know, it's a rhetorical question, but
Yeah.
not just when you're having a bad day, but, you know, whenever you're dreaming about the future, whenever you're talking about the things you want to do in your career and your life, and if you have a good business idea, you know, who do you turn to for those things? You can't go to everybody. You have to.
Yeah.
Most people typically have like a few like specific people that they go to for everything that's like seemingly really important to you at the time. You have to ask yourself, why do I go to those people? You know, what is it about those conversations they're giving to me that I like going to them for? Well, it's because you trust them.
Yeah.
So why do you trust them? Trust is everything.
Yeah.
You know, if you could study the science of trust and how it's formed, like, those are the difference makers right there. From my, you know, I think I had a lot of teachers or like mentors try and tell me like little tricks and such to like show trust early on, you know,
Right.
but they're tips and tricks. They're not genuine. You know, a lot of it is like, there's techniques that it's like mirroring. So like, I'll sit the way you're sitting and kind of like tilt my head the way that you're tilting, and I'll use your same level of energy. Like, that's mirroring. You know, there's like the slow therapist nod.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do that a
There's
lot.
all these. Yeah, so do I. It's okay if it's genuine though. You know what I mean? Like, that's
yeah. Totally.
Totally okay. Yeah. But these are like tips and tricks. Back up. Why are you even doing those things? You're trying to show the other person that you care about them. You're trying to show the other person that you actually want to listen to what they're saying. And if you give them that feeling, well, they're just going to tell you more stuff.
Yeah.
That's the sign of a great listener. People always say, increase your listening skills. I say, increase your trust skills. And that's really what they're trying to tell you. You know, you can listen all day long, but if the person doesn't want to talk to you, then you need to like start over, basically. So that's another surprising thing I've seen in this field, is that some of the most successful people, they're not the, you know, stiff Wall Street, let's go make some money in the stock market type of people. That's really not the most successful type of advisor that I've seen. The ones that I've seen that I at least respect the most are the ones that clients and prospects just flock to speak to these people, because they're the ones that they can trust with their money and their feelings and their emotions and everything.
Right.
So whenever we're looking for our next hires or new advisors to bring on, you know, there's really a couple things that we're looking for. Obviously, you know, you got to have some educational background, you know, major in some sort of understand money and be detail oriented. Those are kind of given for, honestly, most jobs, detail oriented. But the other things that are really important to us are, how did you make me feel in this conversation?
Right.
It's very hard to measure. But if I have a conversation with you and it's not a fluid conversation, or there's a lot of awkward pauses or ums, I'm not confident I want you to talk to my clients, because I want my clients to have a really great experience every single time. So being a good conversationalist is a huge thing. Honestly, behind that, I don't expect new people in our firm to really understand every mechanic of financial planning. It's actually, it's a hard job to get good at. I'm still learning things every day. It takes a couple, 2 or 3 years to even get your bearings underneath you to feel competent at all. So if you don't have those skills yet, well, what do I have?
Right.
You have to at least love helping people. You know, you have to be motivated. That's got to be one of your primary motivations in life. Do I just want to help people at all? I say this as general advice because if you look at the 3 things that I just said, they're not like read this book or study this equation. I didn't say anything about that. It's understood you have to be a little bit good at a lot of those things, but I don't expect anybody to know how to do those things early on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to teach you how to do those things. I can't teach you how to care about people, and I can't really teach you how to be a good conversationalist. You kind of just have that, or you don't. I want my clients to trust talking to you. I want my clients to open up and trust you. So if you can let somebody know that, give them the feeling of trust, that's the only thing that really matters.
Man, that's so awesome. But yeah, I mean, really, really insightful stuff from you, Bryan. We really thank you so much for coming on. I'm sure our listeners will really get a lot out of it.
I hope so. It was my pleasure.
Thank you.
If you like what you just heard, please like, comment, and share. This is Lance Mullen, producer of the MSU WMA podcast. MSU WMA, or Michigan State University Wealth Management Association, is a student organization part of the Eli Broad College of Business, located in East Lansing, Michigan. Our mission is to inspire and educate the next generation of financial planners. Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you enjoyed, please check out our channel on all platforms such as Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and check out our social media at MSUWMA and MSUWMA.com.